Anil, I think you spend more time in hotels than anywhere else. I'm sure in the past, till the pandemic, you were more in
Right.
hotels than home.
That's
I'm
why
sure
we're
he's
doing
missing us all. I'm
Yes.
sure he's suffocated sitting at home.
I get to hear that all the time from my wife, so don't start that. um, she says, I got all my bad habits from the hotels. Sharad, I did message Shalu and Kiran. Let's see if they come to view.
Yeah.
Ajay, how are you?
Dr. Purohit, very good. How are you, sir?
Good, nice to see you.
Pleasure.
I don't see you in the hotel when I stay, but I see you virtually.
You are also a busy man when you are here.
I'm now busy. I messaged to Raghavendra Rathore, that we are
Right.
doing. He always appreciates that we do
That's
something
true.
together.
True. No, it's a wonderful initiative.
So I think Ashish is the only one, right? Waiting. Is that right, Bhupesh?
So we are good to go in about a minute.
Okay. Let's see what Bhupesh. I think everybody is here except Ashish. Sonali, before the start, why did you? Well, I think you already messaged me. Why it doesn't say Taj?
Sorry, why?
Why it doesn't say Taj? Your hotel. You already messaged me. I think, yeah.
So, Sonali, when is your hotel expected to open?
The minute I get my licenses, I'm all set. So,
This meeting is being recorded.
It's a great location.
It's brilliant. It's heart of town. It's CP. It's tucked away as well in a corner. So that's a plus point. And it's a quieter place of CP. So that's another plus point. But yes, COVID has impacted all of us. So I guess the government offices are also taking their time. So I'm just waiting for my licenses to get sorted. Once that gets sorted, I'm good to go.
Yeah,
I'll
nice.
open
Congratulations.
immediately. The minute my license is there, I'll open immediately.
Hi, Ashish. How are you?
Hi, Ashish.
Yeah, so hello everyone, good evening. Rahul, I'm the director at Poornima Group and co-founder of Poornima University, Jaipur. My father started Poornima College of Engineering. He's an architect by qualification. I'm an architect by qualification, and I welcome you all to our 11th webinar of public health, and this is the first webinar for the hospitality. So we ventured into public health school 2 years back when I met Mr. Anil. We both hail from Jodhpur, so we have that Jodhpur connect. And last year, we also ventured into a hospitality school in Jodhpur with the name of Jodhpur Institute of Hotel Management. And last year, we started the similar setup in Jaipur at Poornima University with the name of Poornima Institute of Hotel Management. So I'm glad that we all are here. I requested Anil sir to, use his network and do some common seminars for public health and hospitality industry. And we have been talking about this from a very long time, but now we got a chance to host this webinar finally. And we have with us a few students who are from Poornima and Jodhpur Institute, and most of the students are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. So, public health. Sorry. So public health should learn something from you. It's a great honor for us to host this webinar, and I would pass on the mic to the moderators and Anil sir. Sorry, I skipped few slides. So Anil sir, probably if you can take up and take forward the webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be here today. And I'm so honored that all these top general managers are here. They're my friends. Only Motiji I haven't met, and it's an honor to meet him today. I will briefly talk about my experience with these general managers and why hospitality and public health. I think in this whole panel, Ashish is the one I've known the longest, basically. And I think Ashish will agree with me. And we have kept in touch, whether he moved to Taj or whether wherever he was. So it's been a great honor, privilege. Is a great friend, and Leela means a lot to me. I know management changes, companies change, but for me, Leela is Leela. And I would like to start with my little story about Leela, and then go forward. We'll take a couple minutes. Everybody knows I'm from the public health background. I don't want to get into the introduction. Uh, uh, Leela means a lot for me. Captain Nair, a very good friend, very senior, seasoned, business savvy person, uh, taught me a lot about hospitality, about human skills, about people. We were very good friends. We would sit and talk for hours and hours. And his book is coming up, hopefully, by Pranay Gupta, and I have a section, a chapter in that. And in that, I did mention about him, what he does to his guests. I am immunocompromised. I had a kidney transplant. I had a kidney failure. I did not travel overseas for almost a year. And then when I had to travel, I had spoken to him, and it could never happen anywhere on the planet. He organized for me dialysis at Seven Hills Hospital next to him. Next to is the hotel. He made arrangements that I get a transportation. I get someone to go with me. My lunches are packed. When I come back, everything is ready. And Ashish was the general manager at that time. And believe or not, all over Leela, he circulated that this is my diet. Nobody's going to give me tomato, coconut water, so like the potassium diet. And even if I would go to the restaurant, there was a menu which I was not allowed to even touch. So this is what it is. And for me, it was very important, not the question of 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. In the folio, whenever I checked in, it said free transportation from Leela, Delhi to Primus and back with an attendant, lunch, and also Seven Hills, Mumbai. That meant a lot. That's like a will for me. So when the general manager changed, when he came, he said, I'll have to change this. I'll have to charge you. I said, no, you cannot. You can charge me more for the hotel stay, but not for this particular will which he has put for me. So he meant a lot for me. Unfortunately, he called me one day after his birthday in February. He left a message around 4:30 in the morning saying that, Anil, please call me urgently when you wake up. I was just wondering why, what is it urgent? And he left his cell number. I kept on calling and calling. He would not answer. And I thought, what happened? Did I pay my bills? Or normally we never even deal with those issues. Uh, I called him and he said he has been told that he has a kidney failure. And Anil, you're the first one I'm talking to. And they want me to go on dialysis. And he did not live much longer after that. But prior to that, we did confer him honorary doctorate from Jodhpur School of Public Health. So this is my story about Leela, and Leela means a lot for me. And Ashish and everybody there, they mean a lot for me actually. And when I travel globally, I'm dependent on them actually, because that's my home, that's my family. They give me security. After 26/11 in Mumbai, on 26/11, I was sitting in Chennai at Taj Connemara having my dinner before boarding a Lufthansa flight to Frankfurt. Um, Abhishek was the, I think, head of the restaurant there, came to me saying, sir, do you know what happened? There's been a bombing at Trident, there's been shooting at Taj. And I just was out of my mind because, sorry, I lost quite a few people. And I could not sleep in the flight, actually. I'm like, what is happening? When I came back, and at that time, I was actually seconded to Chennai from University of Washington to live in Chennai for 3 years. I was flying back. I could only fly to Chennai. There was a restriction of the US government, but the flight got canceled. I had to go to Delhi. And Hyatt was somewhere I used to stay. Sonali was there, although that night she was not there, but I think all the arrangements were made. I stayed at Hyatt for one night. Then I went to Trident. For me, security was so important because Sharad was there. And I ended up staying for 3+ years between Taj and Trident for 3 years while I was in India. So hotels mean a lot for me. And to me, I think this is where the connection is, because when I'm out of my house, this is what it is. And my drivers mean a lot for me too. But what I learned from my drivers in Rajasthan, I could never learn from anybody, not even from the top Nobel laureate. Because when I worked on the proposal for Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on migrant health. I used to sit on the dhabas and talk to them, how they live, what they do, what is their life, because that is all life. It's not life what we deal all these sitting in these, fancy offices and air conditioners or whatever it is. This is what most of the people live, and I learned a lot from them actually. So they're my security basically, and I depend a lot on them. They take care of me, and I stay in touch with my drivers. I call them, they call me, and believe it or not, when I had my transplant, it was Leela Delhi where I called. Of course, Louis Seller was the GM, but and then he messaged me that you take care, you don't need to call us. But these are the people I depend a lot, and these are all my friends who are here today. Ashish, Sonali, Sharad, Motiji, I'm just meeting you. Ajay, of course, I've known Ajay for long, since he was at Taj Harimel when Taj Harimel opened actually. And we've done a lot with Taj. We've done a lot of HIV/AIDS work. Umaid Bhawan was the place we used to pay $50 and did all our HIV/AIDS training. Of course, Taj took over. And no thanks to Taj and no thanks to Sonali. It's very expensive now. And so I think hotels are very important for us, and people who work in global space, global health, whether you're a businessman, industrialist, especially public health workers, we depend on you. And that's why we wanted to make this happen today. We wanted to talk to you. Thank you. COVID-19 has brought a lot of crisis. AIDS also did that. AIDS did the same thing, but not to this extent. And 9/11 did really bad things. So in Boston, we talked to Taj when it was owned by the Indian group, and we helped them a lot at that time to do fundraising, to do parties, to get together. And here we are. It's to work with you hand in hand, to bring business to you. And we wanted you to spell out today very clearly that we will be safe when we come to you. A lot of people are viewing, and believe it or not, there'll be 2,000 people going on the YouTube. They will be going on Facebook and watching. So we want to work with you. We want the business to grow, and we really want these hotels to succeed. And that's the reason we are here. And public health measures are very important. That's why we have Bhavna talking about nutrition, food safety. She's my colleague for last 20 years. We met in last pandemic, HIV/AIDS, and here we are again. We are working together. And I have to tell you one little thing before I, give it to Jagdish, is that I'm on a group. I'm from Jodhpur, as someone just said. There's a group called AIDS in Crisis in COVID-19 Impact and Jodhpur in Crisis. Someone just posted yesterday, when you cut your mask, cut in 8 to 10 pieces, because of course India is quoted, but it happens here, it happens everywhere. People are selling those masks. So I would request all you general managers to make it a point that the masks which are thrown, the housekeeping cuts them and throws them, because this is where they are being used, and I think we will only spread the virus. And so I think you all know a lot, and we've got fantastic moderators, Himika and Dharmenderji, and they will introduce themselves. And I am again honored, and this is just the beginning. We will do more workshops with you. We'll do more webinars if it helps. And I would hand over to Jagdish to give us a little brief on what technology can do and help. And he's the CEO of Mobiloid Group of Companies. We've been working together. Again, we met in last pandemic in year 2000, and we still are working. And over to you, Jagdish.
Thanks, Anil, and I'm sure you have many stories to tell, and wish we had more time. I've learned a lot from you while staying, and I think I got introduced to a lot of interesting people with you. Sonali and Sharad are a few of them whom I got introduced with you. So I'll not take much time, just that Mobiloid Group of Companies that I run, we are into digital transformation technologies, and we are into Indic Chain. We have recently launched Indic Chain, which is for reskilling of the people. And with the hospitality industry going through the COVID scenario, which we all are, digital transformation is inevitable, and the digital reskilling of the people who are working, how they can use the digital technology is far more important. So that's pretty much it, and I'll hand over to our moderators. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Himika ma'am, you're muted.
Maybe Rahul, if we can take a minute, if Sunil ji can introduce the Poornima Institute of Hotel Management a little bit, if he has to say something, and then
Yeah, I skipped that. I should have done that. Sunil sir, if you can.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sunil Bhargav. I'm a hotel background. I got a hotel background. I've worked in ITC throughout my life. And after retirement, I joined Poornima University as a director. This institute has actually affiliated with the National Council, that NCHMCT, and we are the only college which is being affiliated with National Council in whole of Rajasthan. We are getting good students here, and I hope now I know most of you. It would help me in placing the students or sending them for internship. I hope I got all the support from all of you. So I'm a hotelier, plus now I'm an educationist. That's all about me.
And there's a connect between Sunil sir and me because his son and I are classmates.
Yes.
He's also from a hotel management background. So I got hold of Sunil sir that after retirement, you are going to join us and help us set up the school. So he first helped us set up the institute in Jodhpur, where 1 year before we started in Poornima, and then last year we started in Poornima. So I never call him sir. I mean, I feel awkward when I call him sir. I mostly call him uncle because I've been seeing him throughout life. So I thank Sunil sir also to, be very kind and join Poornima, because that has given a heads up to all our faculty members and students who are currently associated with us. So over to the moderators now.
No, I would say one more thing about me. Actually, I was a specialist in handling Indian guests. So, like whatever the complaints from Indians, I used to handle in my hotel.
Mr. Bhargava, then you haven't dealt with Dr. Prohit. If he was your guest, would have been one hell of a challenge dealing with him and handling him.
No, he's
So
a
you
very easy.
yourself.
Nali, he's a very easy guest that looks like, and I have really handled local crowd of Jaipur. I worked in Rajputana for quite a long time, and I know how they are. So handling Mr. Purohit is a very easy thing for me.
Like they say, never judge a book by its cover. So never judge him as well by the look and feel of his.
But
one tyrant when he wants to be. But the other thing nice about him, he has this knack of developing relationships. And I think he should have been on this part of the industry than what he's doing on the other side. Because he's very, very fit to be a hotelier than anything else. He enjoys food and he enjoys relationship building. And both of them go hand in hand when it comes to
relationship building is very, very important for hoteliers. And it pays you when you retire. You can ask me. You can ask me because I know how it's helping me now when you're retired.
Sure.
When you're there, yes, of course, everyone is asking for you. But when you're retired, then it means a lot for you.
I'm sure.
So relation building is very, very important. And that's what I had done in ITC.
I think Sonali is right, Mr. Bhargav. You don't know about me. So I just want to take 1 second from the moderators. I'm really sorry. We have a very special guest today from Geneva, Mr. Rangon. He's from the Eden, Geneva, and he's the general manager. And the hotel is owned by a very close friend, Countess Albina Dubore. And she was my boss when we started working in HIV/AIDS. She's a hotelier. She's a philanthropist. And I think she's the only lay person I would know, not a medical person, who knows so much about HIV/AIDS than anybody else. She was the first one who started health and human rights. And one thing I've learned from her is that if you want to be disciplined, you have to be a hotelier or you have to work in movies. She has been also producing movies. And I know the GMs, your 9 o'clock meeting in the morning is sharp. It's always important. So we have a lot to learn from you. And Mr. Rangon, I'm very Thankful that you joined us. I know you're not showing your face, you're muted, but you're hearing us. So thanks for joining us from Geneva. Over to you, Himika and Dharmendraji. Sorry we took too much of your time.
Good evening, everyone. We've already started on such a wonderful note, and some of the stories that Anilji said today, I think that encompasses in a big way what the hotel industry really means. It's about personalized connections, and which is what he was talking about. And guests are the backbone of the industry, and we are at a time where probably one of the biggest challenges is to get the guests back to where they belong, and that's going to be, along with other things, a part of the conversation we are going to have today. So good evening, everybody. It is indeed my honor to be co-moderating this webinar today, and given the times that we are in, where physical distancing has been mitigated today by technology, and we are all together here from various parts of the world without moving an inch, without boarding a flight, without, packing our suitcases. And I do not know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do know that it's a very, very difference to have so many stalwarts here, on the same platform from the hospitality industry. And in the next 1.5 hours, we are going to try and get some answers to some of the questions that today's, stand very tall as challenges to the industry. We also have with us public health experts and hospitality educationists to add a dynamic perspective to today's discussion. Good evening, I'm Himika Chaudhary, and I used to be a lifestyle journalist, so to say, and written a book on travel, and possibly that's why, I was chosen to do this and very honored to do it. And along with my co-moderator, Dharmendra Kanwar, who's actually a celebrity travel writer and many things, including the convener of the Jaipur chapter of Intact. We welcome you to this webinar with attempts to discuss and dissect the very important issue of the impact of COVID-19 on the hospitality industry with a focused look on public health, because that is today probably the most concerning thing. So we would like to introduce our esteemed panelists of the evening, all of who come with years of experience in the hospitality industry and hospitality education. I'm very, very honored to be introducing Mr. Ashish Kumar Rai, General Manager, the Leela Palaces, Delhi and Jaipur. Mr. Rai is the General Manager of Leela Palace at Delhi and a luxury hotelier with 2 decades in the hospitality industry. Ashish brings a wealth of experience in hotel operations, a consummate hotelier, having worked with iconic and renowned hotels including Umaid Bhavan, Jodhpur, the Rambagh Palace, Jaipur, Taj Lands End, Mumbai, and Leela Palace, Bangalore. He has honed his management skills and experiences across locations and business environments, with over 9 years of general management experience, of which 7 is that as general manager. He has been labeled as one of the mindful managers in this field. His key strength lies in creating highly engaging and thinking leadership, I think a lot of which we need right now, which delivers superlative results with an approach of creativity and innovation. Innovation, again, is something that I'm sure all of you are looking at as you wait to bounce back to business. Dharmendra,
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dharmendra Kanwar, and I would like to introduce Ms. Bhavna Sati, HOD, Department of Public Health and Academic Head, JSPH, Jodhpur and Jaipur. Bhavna is the head of Jodhpur School of Public Health. She is a nutritionist by profession and has over 30 years of experience in the field of nutrition. She has been a part of many research projects and clinical trials.
Thank you. Our next panelist today is Mr. Ajay Upadhyay, Vice President, Ajit Group of Hotels. Ajay is the Vice President of the Ajit Group of Hotels now, and he has 24 years of experience in the hospitality sector. Major hotel groups objective is to work on stimulating assignments and making a difference, directing, guiding, and building world-class hotel groups and management teams to achieve full potential in terms of quality, consistency, and revenue. Welcome to this webinar.
And Mr. Purohit has already introduced Mr. Sharad Puri, but I welcome him again, the GM of JW Marriott Mumbai and Juhu. Sharad took over as General Manager of JW Marriott Juhu Mumbai in 2017 and brings with him a rich experience of working with luxury hotels for 25 years. Prior to this, he has been part of award-winning hotels such as the Oberoi, Grand Calcutta, and Trident Hyderabad. During his tenure at the Trident Hyderabad, the hotel won numerous accolades from World Travel Awards to the TripAdvisor Choice Awards. Sharad was born in Delhi. However, his passion for hotels made him travel across cities to gain exposure.
Next on the panel, and the only woman hotelier, and so proud to have you, Sonali. Sonali Chauhan, she's the General Manager of the Connaught New Delhi, and she's one among our stellar panelists today. And she has over 20 years of experience of working in the hospitality industry. She joined Taj Santa Cruz, Mumbai in 2015 as Executive Assistant Manager, and in 2017, just 2 years, rose to become the third Resident Manager at Taj New Delhi. Prior to IHCL, Sonali has worked with
Himika, I'm sorry to interrupt. You have to be a little loud.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it slightly louder is better?
Yes.
Okay. Should I introduce her again?
I think you should.
Please carry on.
No.
Just carry on.
No, like I said, the only woman hotelier on the panel. Let me do it one more time in a minute. Okay, so Sonali is the General Manager of the Connaught New Delhi, and she's over 20 years of experience of working in the hospitality industry. She has joined Taj Santa Cruz, Mumbai in 2015 as Executive Assistant Manager, and in 2017, in just 2 years, rose to become the Resident Manager at New Delhi, role she's missing until now. Prior to IHCL, Sonali has worked with Hyatt Group of Hotels, and she's a passionate equestrian and a pet lover. And her ability to connect with guests from all walks of life remains one of her biggest strengths. And I think that is what Anil Purohit was talking about when we started this session.
Yeah, and I would like to welcome Mr. Sunil Bhargav, Director, Poornima Institute of Hotel Management, Poornima University.
Now from the land of the Golden Fort, and as a Bengali, we are very, very attached to Jaisalmer because Satyajit Ray made a film on it, which still remains a classic. The founder of the Manpur Desert Camp and Resort in Jodhpur after completing completed his graduation in history from Queen's College in Delhi, followed by a master's degree in history with the courses. The sudden twist in fate led him to the hospitality industry. I think it's the hospitality industry's gate, probably, and probably the bureaucracy's loss. His love for nature and the desert ecosystem has led to the acquisition of 250 acres of land over the last 20 years to create a small desert park. He says small desert park for 250 acres, but we'll take it for the local flora and fauna to flourish. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope Jaisalmer is doing well.
I would like to welcome Mr. Suresh Chandra Padhi, President and Vice Chancellor, Poornima University.
Well, with that, I think we come to a close as far as introducing our panel is concerned. And, really they needed no introduction, but we'll just call it a formality. The impact of the pandemic on the global economy has been massive, like we all know, and the hospitality industry has been doubly impacted because there's almost been a complete ban on travel for the last 6 months. But the good news is that travel is opening up bit by bit and the world is unlocking country by country. So probably very soon, it'll be business as usual for the industry, but not without its own set of challenges. My first question this evening is to Mr. Sharad Puri. Mr. Puri, I want to know that, the challenges that you as hoteliers, as the industry as a whole will face are manifold, because, it would completely be from the fact that it's about winning the trust of the guests back. It is about having new processes in place to ensure that business happens, and yet in the new normal. It is about probably considering costs at a time when revenue has really taken a big beating over the last 6 months. What, according to you, sir, is the biggest challenge that the industry as a whole faces today? And for someone who's seen 25 years in the industry and yet nothing like this ever before, how do you think we can come out of this? What do you think the industry can do? What is the way forward?
I think the biggest thing really is, firstly, thank you for the lovely introduction, and great to be a part of this. And I think the biggest challenge, and what takes away my sleep now, and I'm sure for the other general managers or people who are related to hotels, is what my personal attempt is: how many jobs can be saved? Because hospitality is a large employer in India, and I think it's something that across levels. I'm not just talking of large luxury hotels, but it employs a lot of people. And I think the endeavor right now is for us to, at the end of it, how can we increase revenues? How can we earn the trust of our guests, whether it's hotels, restaurants, and that itself will eventually result in getting the economics, the financial situation in order for hotels, for hotel companies, and save jobs. Because I think the other bit is also that in this period, I think a lot of businesses will shut shop. A lot of smaller businesses will shut shop, and it's, I think, very important now to ensure that as many businesses are saved, and which eventually will result in more jobs being saved. I think for hotels, for us to get those revenues back, the number one thing is, of course, that we ensure safety is a topmost priority. So all hotels, all large hotel companies, good hotel companies have developed their programs on cleanliness. So we have something called Commitment to Clean, which is a very detailed program created by Marriott International. Marriott International, we have almost about 7,000 hotels across the world. And this program is very detailed. It's done in consultation with medical experts, which talks very detailed on what should be the cleanliness standards in a hotel, what is the training that needs to be conducted to associates working in hotels. And putting all this, I think we should be able to give the confidence and earn the trust of our guests that hotels are safe. And really, if you go to see in a lot of places, a hotel probably is a lot safer than many residential buildings, because the kind of precautions that large hotels are, good hotels are taking are tremendous. And there is so much of effort that has gone in training. There's so much of research that has gone in on what are the things that need to be done to ensure the virus does not spread is huge. So I think eventually what we want to come out of it with is not losing jobs, not losing businesses, not losing hotels. And to do that, very important bit is, to ensure safety. I think the other thing that I feel is very important is this pandemic has created a lot of instability and has disturbed a lot of people from the point of view of their mental health. And I think what's extremely important now, and I take that as my personal responsibility in my hotel, is how can I help my team? How can I help people to ensure that they stay positive, they stay optimistic about, let me not use the word positive, but they stay optimistic of the situation. And I think we all work together, keep communicating very regularly with our teams, with our guests. Uh, and and I think this too shall pass. It's a matter of time.
Yes, absolutely. And like you said, everything is being, the processes are being put in place. How you're going to do business from here on uh, is going to change. But what's really important, like you pointed out, is to remain optimistic and to move ahead and to ensure that everything is, going to be the way it was probably a year back. Maybe we'll take a year to reach that place, but maybe it's time when everything is going to work back into being normal. Dharmendra ma'am, you might want to ask the next question.
Yes, Mr. Puri has very clearly spelled out the challenges being faced and the difficult times that all hotel groups are facing. And it really has been a difficult time because the tourism sector has, according to industry estimates, suffered a loss of over 5 lakh crore. And that's a huge amount. So therefore, reviving business is going to be the most important thing for all properties, big or small, as you rightly pointed out. I would like to know from Mr. Rai of the Leela Group, how have you used this period? Have you developed any new strategies to revive your business? And was it difficult to retrain your staff because they're used to working in a certain way and suddenly, everything has changed. So how are you handling that?
Okay, firstly, thank you all, and thank you, Dr. Purohit, for giving me this opportunity to express, myself, and also, take a message to all of you and all the students, especially, who are listening, that we as an industry are extremely resilient. We've seen a lot. I think Sharad, Sonali, who have a very similar and I think a far richer experience than what I've had. We have seen things up close and personal. We have seen human tragedy. We have seen terrorism. We have seen so many things which have almost shaken our core, but we have survived and we have thrived. I think fundamentally, what's going to happen is that we are in a very nice inflection point of evolving as an industry. We are now looking at things which maybe we never looked before. So when 26/11 happened, or before 9/11, nobody used to allow themselves to get frisked. I mean, it was considered as a big unhospitality kind of thing to do. But then after that, everybody kind of, embraced it and in fact appreciated it as well. So this time as well, I think there's going to be a lot of things like cleanliness, hygiene, being efficient, your manning, being creative, how to communicate to the guests. I mean, there's so many things. So what we as a group, are doing is basically to make sure that we try to win confidence of all stakeholders. Back we have. I mean, this has shaken all of us. So be it our employees, a lot of them who are currently, we have not laid off anybody, we have not furloughed anybody. We've just simply are kind of trying to efficiently manage it so that everybody continues to get a constant source of income. And we've been very lucky that what Sharad mentioned, that right now the idea is to make sure that as many jobs as possible are saved. We are actually creating them by opening a new hotel in Jaipur, and we have 3 more projects which are in Gandhinagar, in Bangalore, and in Hyderabad coming up. And we're hoping, with time, I think we may get more opportunities to create more jobs at this time. So we have in a lot of ways bucked the trend. Besides, of course, being very conscious of the fact that we need to uphold all our basic protocols. We have formed a program with BBQI, which is Bureau Veritas, which is called the Leela Suraksha, which is mandated that every hotel has to has to have a rating of 95% plus. And our hotel, have been serving doctors. We kind of have been kind of liaising with the local authorities. So the idea is that we essentially work in an ecosystem. Be it public, or be it our guests, be it the local authorities. And now more than ever, there's a need of not only leadership in terms of on paper, but actually thought leadership as to what exactly we can come up with. So the way, and I'm very lucky to be part of this company for a very long time. I mean, I'm an original Leela. I started my career with them, and I had an opportunity to work with Taj, and then briefly with Starwood Marriott, and then finally back to Leela again. So for us, we are going all guns blazing. We are, because end of the day, we can continue to talk and we can continue to, discuss, and worry about it. But I think action is what is more important than words. So for us at the Leela, we are very positive. We are seeing the trends pick up, especially in our leisure destinations. We are seeing that the customer confidence is coming back. We are seeing more chairs in the restaurant getting filled and the more beds in the rooms getting occupied. So we are confident. We know that it's going to take a long time. It has shaken a lot of things, and the order is going to change. I think it's going to be a realignment of the order in every possible way. I think for every possible industry. So for us, I think with the support of everybody together, and with the inclusive approach, like I said, we are confident of forging ahead and making sure that we learn from it, and we are ready to embrace tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good to know. And what is also good to know is that the staff has been retained and you haven't really thrown anybody out of jobs.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, Mr. Rai, in the middle of the lockdown and everything, when things were looking really gloomy, I received one day a WhatsApp on my phone. And like I said, I used to be a lifestyle editor, journalist for a very long time, written a book on travel. So I still have those connections. And, and it said that in these gloomy times, some good news, Leela is hiring. So, brings me back to the thought that, if industry leaders and big chains like yours and others, and like Mr. Puri also said, can get together to think of the staff and how to hold it all together and surge ahead with this optimistic mindset, I think it's, possibly not going to be as tough. So thank you for your insights. I think some of the things you said right now would resonate very well with a lot of students who've joined us today. I'm sure they're worried, want to know what their career goals, they're just about to begin. So we'll come to all those questions also as we go along. In the meanwhile, my next question is for Mr. Upadhyay. Mr. Upadhyay, I've had also the chance of being at, in your hotel in Jodhpur. Of course, wonderful property, etc. But what I wanted to know from you today is that, there are certain states in our country, like Rajasthan, for instance, on number one, I think, then Himachal Pradesh, which are largely dependent on international tourism also, And though domestic travelers, are multiplying, I mean, in the last couple of years, I think Indians have started to spend a lot. But despite that, I think the dependence on foreign business is also significant. And at a time when international travel is now, opening up very slowly, but more than the planes actually flying, it's the minds that have to fly. The foreigners have to be comfortable about coming to India, possibly a country that is still being seen as, a center of a lot of, COVID cases, etc. Is there a change in strategy that as a chain that you have thought about, if one were to, for the time being, temporarily not look at foreign travelers coming in terms of revenue? I wanted to know, and also wanted to know that how do you think states such as yours, can work towards maybe attracting a different set of tourists? Are you thinking about that, or do you think the foreigners are coming back soon? What is your take on that, sir?
Yeah, Himika, actually, we have two hotels. One is Ajit Bhavan and second one is Raula Narlai. And I think the beautiful part is your strategy you can't change overnight. You need a time frame to change the strategy. And I'm with the company for last 6-7 years. And when I came, of course, I saw that we have kept all our eggs in one basket. That was inbound tourism, and all the foreigners were coming. And Ajit Bhavan used to be a foreigner's paradise. All the Britishers, all the Europeans and Americans used to be there. And when I came here, it was 90% foreign segment we were catering to. But in last 5 years, we have actually reduced our dependence on foreign segment. Though Narlai is still actually a inbound driven hotel, which is again, right now it is in lot of attraction. It is getting, because Udaipur is sold out, Kumbhalgarh is getting sold out. A lot of Gujaratis are coming. I mean to say, in August month, we have really opened Ravla Narlai, then Ajit Bhavan, because Ajit Bhavan, that there is a royal family still lives here. There are a lot of system and procedure we have to develop from family's point of view also. And we have staff and royal family, caretakers are also living together. But that's how, we have to really think little long term, because this crisis is not going to get over in 2-3 months or so. And we are actually keeping a little long term perspective. Exactly what happened that, in last 5-6 years, we have actually come to, from 90%, we have come to 40% dependence on foreign segment now.
That's fantastic.
That's true. And now we have actually nurtured local corporates who are handicraft buyers and all that, or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of domestic guests are also coming to Ajit Bhavan from Delhi and Mumbai. At the same time, we have a lot of weddings we do with Umaid Bhavan. I mean to say, a lot of high-end, high net worth weddings we are doing it. That's actually, we don't do big numbers. We don't do 15, 20 weddings. We do actually a couple of weddings in a month, and that's again in season. So that's how I think those are big ticket items which will survive us. And there are quite a few weddings which is there in pipeline. There are a lot of queries which are coming. The hotel is still not open. We are thinking of opening by the end of this October, because a lot of stress has been given on the sanitization zone. We are actually making sanitization zone into 3 parts. One is actually for procurement of perishables and washing and all that. Then second section is for, you get your couriers, you get your all these provision and all that. There is a third section which is very, very specific, like like an airline conveyor belt, like those handbags of the guest and those heavy suitcases and big bags actually of the guest that can get sanitized. So I mean to say, first entry point, the car will reach there at the sanitization zone, and then everything gets sanitized and the guest actually entry takes place. So that's how a lot of challenges for Ajit Bhavan, because the family is here. Narlai is already started. We started that last month in August, and it has done a fabulous business. A lot of queries are in pipeline for Narlai also from Gujarat. So that's how, of course, I think the future seems to be, next 1 year seems to be for domestic. At the same time, for weddings and big ticket items, I think the main thing is the connectivity is a big issue for Jodhpur, because we don't get many flights. The number of guests who are coming also, that's also very less. So that's why, of course, a lot of challenge. But what we have done, we have collected our data of last 10 years. We started calling all our guests who are our loyal customers. So that's a big thing which we have done. In last 6 months only, we have done all that data collection. We have actually got back to our loyal guests. We have seen, we have approached those people who have not dealt with us in last 3 years or so. There are a lot of people who are quite regular and quite loyal to us, and we have a loyalty program as well. Those are 100 loyalty cards we distributed to who's who in Jodhpur, and that those guests actually take advantage of our food and beverage facilities and some banqueting, or they get room nights in Ajit Bhavan and Narlai. So that's how we are actually hoping that definitely the future seems to be domestic. and the big segment. That's what we have to focus upon.
No, in fact, like you rightly said, that in the last a few months, you've used the time to reconnect with guests and kind of try and get them to come back and things like that. I think, like, we all agree that it is about that personalized touch, about building that trust, and congratulations. I think that has been done very well, and going forward, like you're saying, the domestic market will see you through. I'm quite confident.
And as you know, this is Ajit Bhavan is the first heritage hotel of the country. It is not the first year. It's actually we are in this business for last 4 decades. It has its own goodwill. That's how a lot of guests who are coming, who are actually come 30 years ago during Maharaj Swarup Singh Ji's time. They actually bring their photographs and all those photographs with turban and where they have stayed, which part of the hotel they have used, which room they stayed in. So they bring those photographs. This is where the tree was, this is where the swing was, and all those kind of stuff is there. Definitely, I think that goodwill will take us very far in life and of course in business.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dharmendra ma'am. I hand it over to you now for the next question.
Yes, I was very happy to hear about Ajit Bhavan because I have written about it quite a few times in several guidebooks, and it's a beautiful property. And I agree with what Mr. Upadhyay was saying about focusing on domestic travelers, because this is one segment that hasn't really got the kind of importance it should, because domestic travel is almost, according to reports, 200 times more than the inbound tourist, and there is a segment within it which can pay at par or better than the international travelers. Now, I would like to throw this question to Ms. Chauhan to tell us if there is any conscious effort by the Taj Group on the domestic market, and what is your strategy? What is the Taj Group, how is it taking this up?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me on the panel. Tata's, as you know, is an institution in itself, and we at Indian Hotels Company have been, strong tenets of loyalty that have been displayed within the country as well as within areas. So our main philosophy, which remains, is Tajness, which we've re-strengthened in terms of our values, in terms of our trust, and in terms of joy. I'm sure you all are aware of that. We've been that we've even supported the what you call humanity and service to the community. We've fed about 2.5 million people during the pandemic, and we've housed a lot of medical staff in our Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore cities, as well as some other cities as well. So as far as service to the community and guests at large are concerned, we've been known for our hospitality and our warmth, and safety and security is prime to us at this stage. And we continue to re-strengthen it. We're following all safety norms which have been prescribed by WHO, and all sanitization is in line with the WHO norms, as long as FSSAI, which is the government body for food safety and security. Your question was towards domestic traveler. We at present, our hotels are doing very well in all the leisure areas, which are Rajasthan, Goa. Goa is in good business, and there's Himachal, which is Tyog, and we've even got our destination areas like Jim Corbett and Rishikesh, which are doing good business. So from a domestic point of view, we've been majorly aiming at targeting all our domestic clients, because, as you know, international flights are not happening, and I don't think till 2021, as per today's update from our Civil Aviation Ministry, that we will have flights coming in. So the way forward is only to target domestic tourism, and we're looking at that. We've even derived certain staycation packages which are called 4D: Dream, Discover, Drive, and Desire, which is different packages which we've floated. We've also floated packages for the armed forces. We have various sorts of attractive packages depending upon every destination, so that we can encourage more people to travel. Yes, safety remains primary, and we are very, very careful when it comes to both guests as well as staff where safety is concerned. So there are certain norms that we are following. and we encourage every guest who comes in as well to be a part of it. Certain hotels, we've even housed our staff in-house so that we don't have to make them travel and the rate of infection is reduced. So we're taking all measures and we're doing what it takes to ensure that our guests remain safe and we can welcome more tourism in the coming few days.
Sure, thank you, Ms. Chauhan. Wonderful. Again, I think I'm batting too much for her. Just very excited to have the only woman hotelier on the panel. I'm sorry, I'm just biased right out here.
Thank you so much.
So
it's a pleasure to be on the panel as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we move on to the other end of the spectrum. We've spoken about the industry for all this while, but we'll also move now to the hospitality education as we know it. And my question would be to Mr. Sunil Bhargav, and as director of the Poornima Institute of Hotel Management, sir, I wanted to note this again, like there are several challenges that the industry is facing, which is the front end, as back end, as an institute that is training, hoteliers of tomorrow. This is probably not the best year. So I wanted to understand from you that as an institute, are there concerns of employability? Are there any changes in curriculum? How are you geared up to handle this challenge? Or if at all you look at it as a challenge, it's possible that you don't. It's possible that things will be as they were every other year.
Now look, Himika, after night, you get a good morning, right? So we are hoping for the next year, but this year also is not that bad. But of course, we'll have to have some precautions from education point of view. Since they are students, they are quite immature. We'll have to guide them. Now, students have to accept the change and move ahead. They'll have to accept the change. Then classroom infra has to be upgraded to meet all social distancing suggested by the government. Then teaching classes should be divided into batches. Now we can't have a batch of 40 students or 30 students. And especially for practicals, we'll have to have a batch of maximum 10 or 12 students. Right? We'll have to change our infra actually. Then students should join webinars to enhance their knowledge. So these webinars are very useful actually. Then students should strive to become entrepreneur.
Yes.
Like inculcate entrepreneurship thinking.
Yes, don't depend on a job only.
Yes, don't depend on the job, because there'll be an issue in the jobs when they'll pass out from here.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sir.
And then student and faculty need to be flexible. And they should be trained accordingly. Right? And we have to give focus online learning and teaching process.
Right.
They need proper guidance. And there are some negative impact on education from COVID point of view, like class activities are hampered. You can't help it unless and until government allows us to call the students. Then unprepared teachers, students for online education. Actually, no one is geared up for online education and will have to do it. So some teachers and even students, they are not well geared up for online education.
Right.
It's
a challenge.
It's a challenge, yes.
Working from home has been a challenge for all of us, I think. Similarly, teaching from and learning from homes. Yes, sure.
So that's all from education point of view. Yes, of course, like I said, after every dark night, there is a good morning. So we are hoping that we get a good morning now.
Very soon, yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inputs. I'm sure the students really listened in very, very keenly. Dharmendra ma'am, I leave turn it over
Yes.
to you now. Yes.
I wanted to, you very rightly pointed out where education and jobs is concerned. Now, I wanted to talk to Mr. Suresh Chandra. And given the change now, what do you feel? Do you think students will be opting out for hospitality as a career option? And do you think
Ma'am, I think Dharmendra ma'am, we are unable to hear you.
Yeah, I think it may have been.
I think there's some internet connectivity issue. Can you please take over? And Suresh sir has not yet joined. I think he'll join us directly at the vote of thanks.
So that's fine. So we can, at the end, we can still ask him that question at the end when he joins us. So in the meanwhile, I will turn to one very, very important aspect, and something that through the evening everybody has been speaking about, which is the concern about health and safety in hotels, in restaurants. And one major part of that is the food that will be served. So since we have with us a public health expert today, I request Sati ma'am that I wanted to know from you, what is the importance of maintaining health and hygiene, which now that it has gone up so many notches, I wanted to know from you that, in fact, my question is in two parts, that how can food and drinks, and while I was reading up about you, and I saw this really interesting thing that you had put in, of bringing how to make food safer today, from mandi to the handi, from the market, and I think so many people spoke about cleanliness and hygiene vis-a-vis procurement of vegetables, fish, meat, whatever it might be, everything that is edible. So what ways would you suggest as a public health expert? And I also wanted to know that, is there a way in which nutrients, both in food, drinks, can be added in such a way as to give a sense of that confidence to a guest, that what's on my plate is actually helping me. It's what we're doing at home. We're trying to eat food which is building immunity, or so we think. So both these things I wanted to know.
Yeah. Thank you, Dhemika. Thank you so much. And really, first of all, we need to know that what is food safety. So food safety in terms of food handling, number one. Food safety in terms of whatever we are eating, whether this is protecting our body from this COVID infection, means immunity boosters, number two. And another important aspect of food safety is also here. So that is actually, you talked about in your question, that the sense of satisfaction or sense of gratification of your guest has to be here, that whether the food is safe for him or her. That's the main challenge right now for this whole hospitality sector. First of all, currently we need to know that COVID-19 have been identified from, there is no cases actually as far as food packaging is concerned, food serving is concerned, even your shopping bags also. So the risk of infection from food service, which people are thinking is more, actually is very, very low. Very important aspect. Although there were some cases like some of the employees in food production sector or food processing facilities, like one case in Jodhpur, one employee of Saras Dairy, that is dairy of government of Rajasthan, and another person is from Swiggy, Swiggy employee from Delhi. They got this COVID-19, but there is no evidence of the viruses spreading to consumers through the food or packaging of workers in these facilities they are handling. So that's very important to know to your guests, that actually food is actually not a kind of transport agency. Now from food items journey from mandi to handi, it requires some points to remember as far as this hospitality sector is concerned. First of all, whosoever is actually handling this specific material for the hospital, the hotel, for example, so should remember that before going to market, first of all, we have to prepare a kind of list. Homework is required. So we have to prefer to order raw materials or packaging materials, whatever we are writing in advance, at least 48 to 72 hours. Now, this is a period where we feel that now the next after 72 hours, everything is safe because there are several studies showing COVID's availability or live or attenuated or not. So it's really very important that we have to have a very peaceful mind to prepare our market list and prevent such kind of contamination, any possibility of contamination or COVID contamination from surface of body packets. So for this matter also, if possible, there have to be a separate refrigerator or separate store area just to segregate during for such items like 70 things have been bought 72 hours before for handling purpose. So we actually destroy the contamination possibility. Now, this is the first way. Now, whenever we are moving towards market zones, first of all, check your bag or that you are carrying 3-layered mask, sanitizers, gloves, or tongs in case of if you want to see, you don't want to touch the food items, number one. You have to carry the separate carry bags, shopping carry bags for fruits and vegetables and dairy items and grains and different packs separately. So different bags has to be there that we have to keep in mind. And a very important aspect that whenever we are planning to buy something, we have to keep in mind that what is the best time to approach it at the time where we are having minimum crowd. But nowadays, because online deliveries are really very famous, so that is also a very good option. But for properties like in Jodhpur, where they do not prefer even this online shopping or property at Jaisalmer, etc., so they have to keep such things in mind. Now, the preparation is done. You have reached to the shopping area. What you have to do during shopping time? You need not to touch every item unnecessarily. Even with proper hand sanitizations, we suggest our food workers to use barriers like gloves, like tongs, like other utensils, whatever possible, just to avoid contact with food items. And meanwhile, touching your nose or your or eye, these are some of the area should be at the particular time we should avoid that. And physical distancing that has to be at the optimum level. That is another guideline whenever you are shopping. When it is online shopping, so we have to keep a proper distance as far as yours the service deliver the boy is providing. Shopping is done. Now you are back to your place. So after that moment, properly sanitize your hand. Next comes to the unpacking. This is also nowadays, not only to the hospitality sector or guest house, but in home too. It's an event basically. How to unpack things, how to keep the things, so handling food packages. It becomes nowadays a kind of event. So what should be actually, there are multiple various guidelines given by different agencies to our hospitality sector. So these are already very well established. What it is important right now that whenever we are handling the food or any item, we have to wash our hands with soap and water, preferably warm or hot water. Not, I won't say hot, but yes, at least 40 to 60 seconds. This is actually the WHO is advising nowadays. And if we have to use frequent alcohol-based hand sanitizers, whatever the SOPs given by Government of India, very nicely. And even QCI and FSSAI also even all kind of very nice guidelines we have to follow all that. And next is very important that strictly follow employees or the food employees or have food handlers, all these personal food hygienes before entering to food premises. You have to wash and sanitize your hands properly before changing the clean clothes. This is actually the kind of doffing as prescribed in hospital sector. Same thing also should be practiced in our food area wherever we are handling food. So kitchen area. That is actually same guidelines, and if possible, the drying of hands is really very important. Now it is ideal when actually there has to be very nice way putting that all these safety measures on as an IEC in your hotels at the various places. Now when you have to wash hand before starting work, after coughing, sneezing, or blowing nose, or before touching your face and hair, before handling cooked food or ready to eat food, after handling or preparing raw food, after handling waste, also after cleaning duties, after using the toilet, and after eating, drinking, or smoking. Even whenever you are handling money or money paper, and that is also hand washing is important, like bill and dent forms, etc., etc. Whenever you are touching the doors, knobs, walls, windows, doors, whatever, even steering wheels too, that is also hand washing is required. Even whenever you are using your personal protective equipment like
Bhavna ma'am, your voice is has reduced. आपकी आवाज बहुत कम हो गई है मैम. अब तो बिल्कुल चली गई है. I think Bhavna ma'am, can you unmute? Can you mute yourself and then again unmute?
Mute and unmute once. Because it's gone. The voice we can't hear. I don't think she can hear either.
No, she can hear. Bhavna ma'am, can you hear us? If you can hear us, please show your thumbs up. So she. Okay. So Himika ma'am, can you move forward till the time we get the issue sorted?
We need this.
Yeah.
Bhavna ma'am, we'll come back to you because what you were saying are very, very, very important suggestions, especially at a time, and like you are saying, that it is in building the confidence of guests in the hospitality industry. And the more hotels talk about how they are, handling, back end places, especially the kitchen, and we all think that food is a major place where we tend to get we may get the infection. We'll come back to you to hear more about you on this, because as soon as that sound thing gets solved. In the meanwhile, I am just going to, has Dharmendra ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it was, so what Ms. Satri was saying was very reassuring. And it was good to know that, for people who like to eat out, that, you're not always liable to get infected. So that was good to know. And of course, the suggestions of how to treat your, orders from, or whether they're online orders or something that you've picked up from stores, how they should be treated, sanitized. I think that was great, very informative. Now, despite the fact, people are still a little hesitant and they don't like to go to, crowded restaurants. Those are places that they are avoiding. And now another thing that is happening is that, the off the beaten track, should we say, those destinations are being now preferred. So people prefer to go to places where they are not likely to meet huge crowds. And that is where I feel the smaller destinations have a big advantage. So I would like to ask Mr. Singh, do you see smaller properties getting an edge in this business? And what are the systems that you've put in place? Have you made any changes, or life is going on as before?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you all to everybody here for inviting me to be part of this talk. Feel more like an outsider because you have all the GMs of 5-star hotels, while I run a very small boutique resort in a camp in the middle of nowhere. So I'm also in a place where if you see locally, there has been, I mean, we've not had any COVID infections around the villages which Manwar is there. I mean, the foreign traveler, the last foreign traveler came to us was in March. 70% of our market was the foreign traveler, 30% is the Indian traveler, which normally was traveling around the time of the holidays, which is Diwali, New Year, and we are more of a winter destination. We start the camp in October and we close down the camp in March. But we are very, right from the beginning, I think this COVID issue which has happened, it was kind of the way the world was moving. We who live in the middle of the desert are trying to fight to preserve nature, fight to do a different kind of tourism which is sustainable, which is responsible. I'm a part of these rare hotels. If you ever get a chance to have a look of what Shobha has done, she runs these rare hotels, which are small, offbeat, very pretty hotels. So definitely like what the challenges which other people have, we also going to have face the same challenges, but kind of I mean, since we are a small unit, we have always hired local people. You won't believe, out of the at full capacity, out of the 90 to 100 boys we had, they were all local people whom we kind of trained over a period of time, whether it was our chefs, whether they were our bakers, whether they were our people who were in the in the service part or in the kitchen part. They were all local people. So I have always talked about tourism in another way, that what is the impact which a small unit like mine or which the smaller hotels which are around Jodhpur, what is the kind of impact you leave in that area? So, we talk about there are challenges besides COVID. The kind of tourism which I run, the challenges are different in terms of the desert ecosystem, for example, of the Thar Desert, which is a very rare ecosystem, is already facing a lot of challenges. And these are great opportunities for people to look at these areas, how to protect them, how to preserve them. The canal has been, which came a long time back from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer, had positive impact in terms of agriculture and in terms of money, but the negative impact it had in terms for rural flora, I mean the local flora, fauna, those things, I mean, is where these are times from COVID, these are the challenges where we need to learn and see that what is the impact we leave. I mean, I'm a person who have always been a very big fan of small hotels, whether it was Maharaj Swarup Singh Ji when he started Ajit Bhavan, whether it was Thakur Sahab Rohit. So these were the small hotels. Because of their hard work in the last 20, 25, 30 years, that large hotels, or for example, the small Umaid Bhawan which was running at that time, it was because of their effort and how they sold Jodhpur was the reason why these large hotels came. I mean, with huge investments, with almost 100 rooms, and now in these times, they have come down to tariffs which are like the tariffs which we are charging. So our challenge is double-fold. We are trying difficult to get the customer, and we are facing challenges of large hotels. So, as ma'am has said, that domestic tourism, we never believed in foreign and domestic. I am saying that we have to get and target the right customer. Look at Mount Abu. And the kind of tourism which has come there, they've destroyed Mount Abu. You look at Jaisalmer, the kind of tourism, it's not domestic, it is not international. It is the right customer, right hotelier, and the kind of impact which will leave in the area around and the economy. That is my fight and struggle. So at the moment, ma'am, we are not getting any domestic tourism. I mean, we are just right for the as an offbeat destination, because we sell experiences, we sell how the people live in the desert, We procure all our items from vegetables to milk to meat to everything from the local areas. The domestic traveler, which a maximum traveler came to us from Gujarat, Bombay, now with international flights from Bangalore, Pune. Those with the flights not happening are still not coming. The destinations which have got the advantage are the ones which are next to, which are about 300 kilometers from Delhi, for example. So Jaipur has got because of Delhi. Udaipur has got because of Gujarat, close proximity to Ahmedabad, Surat. So that market has come, but they are still not moving ahead. But I personally feel that it's a great time for us. I mean, as one of the, I think it was Ratan Tata, those who survive will succeed. And we in the desert have learned to survive, and we will survive this. So I think the challenge is going to be for the large hotels with huge investments, with huge loans. They are the ones who are going to be facing a lot of challenges. We just need to do the corrections in terms of the challenges we are facing in terms of online booking, in terms of websites, trying to get the booking through the web booking. So we are redoing our websites and trying to get the customer. So our costs of operations are not high. We charge high because we sell experiences. And I have started my camp, believe you me, 1st of October 2020 I started. It's been 11 days. We have got lots of guests in terms of migratory birds, fruit bats, but no traveler. So we are okay. I mean, it's okay as long as we are able to, attract the right customer, and they will come. I'm sure they will come with the confidence which these large hotels will give to them. The filter off will be there. I mean, with Umaid Bhavan in Jodhpur, with Ras in Jodhpur, the right customer. I mean, you have the Taj in Jodhpur. The right customer will come, provided they manage to convince them to come so far. And once they come here, they will come to us because the experiences which we sell are very different. And we sell authentic India, we sell rural tourism, and we are the ones who are very, very passionate about tourism. We are not there just to make money and to, we are there to because of the passion. So I think we will manage and we'll survive. Thank you.
That's wonderful to know. Wonderful to know. And okay, I think in a month or so you might count me as one of your guests. Give me a discount, please.
Please.
Okay, we are, it's been a wonderful session. We had one questions, but we have just about 8 minutes left. So I would, and I think everybody has shared their viewpoints so wonderfully. I think we've been able to cover a lot of the things that we wanted to cover. In fact, everything in terms of a 360-degree look, be it the processes that are being put in place, what we can do for public health and hygiene, the education part of it, the bigger hotels, the smaller hotels, the way forward, stalwarts speaking about what they intend to do with the industry. So I think we've had a great conversation. I would want to see if there's anybody, and since there are students, any questions that anybody has, because it's a rare opportunity. It's not always that you'll get a chance to interact, face to face, even if it's online with these industry biggies. I can see one question here in the chat box. It comes from Sharikullah, and he says to all panelists, and he says, how do you ensure that guests, especially foreigners, are safe during their stay in your hotel? And have you taken full measures regarding COVID-19? On the other hand, the economic situation and is bad. So as owners, are you also planning special packages or discounts for the guests? Sharikula, I think I'm going to answer that one because, like everybody discussed, like the Taj Group hotels, they spoke about their own, I think Leela, Ajit, Bhavan, each of them, and right now even Mr. Moti Singh, he spoke about, all that is being put in place in terms of, Leela spoke about their processes and discounts that spoke about. So I think we've covered that extensively through the conversation today. So I think that's a question answered. If you send us your email, we might send you the answer back in writing. Okay. I now put it back to the host for the evening. Rahul, would you want to take it on from here?
Thank you. Thank you, Himika. Rather, I would pass on the mic to Anil sir, and would if you Anil sir, if you can take it forward, and
Sure.
I think Suresh sir will also join in a few moments.
Sure.
And so we have few students as well. I can see, I remember few names. I can see Vidhi and I can see Satvik. So if any one of you has any question, you can either post it in the Q&A section or just raise your hand and we'll allow you to speak. Till the time, Anil sir, if you can just carry on.
Sure, absolutely.
Anil sir, if I can, I'm sorry, I should have
Sure.
done this a little earlier, but just occurs to me that, since we had this entire discussion, if there are any particular things that any of our panelists would want to share specific to their own hotel groups or, a larger picture or vis-a-vis the industry, please feel free to do that. I think, Anil sir, everybody is your friend, so if anybody wants to speak up, they are going to do that in the middle of, your speaking as well. So I request you to please take it up from here.
Sure. Before I do that, I would like to ask Mr. Rangon from Geneva at the Eden if you have any questions or anything you want to comment on. I know you're muted, but we don't see your picture. But if you have any comment or advice or what you are planning to share with us. I think he did not hear, or all right, that's fine. So I think we'll go back to what Himika said. And my question, actually, if I may ask a couple of questions, Himika.
Anil sir, we have one student who want to ask.
Sure.
So can I ask her?
Yes, please.
Okay, Vidhi, I'm allowing you to talk.
Sure.
Yes, Vidhi, you can go on.
Yes. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Go
Yes.
ahead,
Vidhi,
please.
all of us can hear you. You can ask your question.
Yes, sir. So my question was that, as we all know, that with the influx in the hospitality trend of foreign people visiting our country, like all the places like especially like Rajasthan, Agra, Jaipur, Udaipur. So we have a lot of foreigners coming to these places because of the authenticity of the place. So with this situation of COVID-19, like we'll be facing a lot of problems into that. So what will be the emerging trends? Like we as students who will enter into the ITs or for the placements, what all emerging trends we need to be prepared about when we enter into our ITs or for our placements?
So Vidhi, is there any particular panelist you want to ask the question to, or is it open?
No, sir, it is open. It's just a general question that I wanted to know about.
So, Sonali, or Sharad, you want to answer?
Sorry, Sonali, go on.
Okay. Can you repeat your question again? You're saying what are the things that you need to be concerned about?
Yes, ma'am.
What are the future trends so that they are more prepared for the hospitality industry?
Future trends when it comes to the hospitality industry, well, we're hoping things get back to normal and we will be able to take on more people. At present, what we are doing is, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
So what you need to also keep in mind is a safety and safety precautions that need to be taken at all times. So when we'll be hiring people or when you'll be coming in for your internship, which you call as the industrial exposure, where as and when that happens, you've got to be very mindful of yourself and of the people and of your surroundings. And you also need to be extra cautious when it comes to taking precautions so that you also are safe for the other people who will be around you. So having said that, all safety precautions need to be taken, wearing your mask, sanitizing yourself, changing your mask during every 2 hours if you're doing it at the hotel, sanitizing, changing your uniform as and when required, and keeping all hygiene levels up to mark. Also, where it comes to exposure, when you'll be doing your exposure at the industry, we've got now even uniforms, for example, for housekeeping is most to do with PPE kits. So you would be into your PPE kits. So working with them and being a part of the team is something which is important, but at the same time, maintaining hygiene and or taking all safety precautions is going to be paramount. It's not going to be the same as it used to be in the past.
20 hours.
And you cannot be callous about the way of living. And when it comes to guests as well, it is important that we follow our hospitality standards of warmth and catering, but at the same time we need to be very, very careful when it comes to service. So the service design has completely changed. Everything goes in disposables, which is highly sanitized before it goes there. The room service is a completely different ball game now, and so is that service in restaurants. So all those things will come as a bit of a surprise to you, but it's going to be learning as well. So you just need to be watchful of these things. Sharad, over to you. Anything you want to add on to this?
Yeah, I think you've covered most of it, Sonali. Thank you. If I may just add, I think what's critical right now is, Vidhi, is that uh, develop more skills. Yeah, what this pandemic has actually taught all of us is the more skills you have, the better skilled you are, the better off you are. So, and when I talk of skills, it's of course one is related to the hotel, but look at the more softer skills, um likes of adaptation. And I can tell you right now, maybe once things get a little better, maybe let's say end of 2021, as I said earlier, there will be some organizations which probably will not be able to last until then. It's the organizations and individuals who've been able to adapt, who've been able to change quickly, will be the ones who will go through this. So look at developing your adaptation capability, your resilience, how resilient you are, how quickly you can come back from bad news. There are some people who take bad news, who don't handle bad news well. There are people who handle bad news well, and that's what at the end of it will tremendously help any professional in what they do. Uh, and when we start recruiting again, which is not going to be too far away, the first thing I'm going to ask people, if I recruit anybody, the first thing I would want to know, what have you been doing in the last 6 months, 8 months since the pandemic started? So now it might seem like a time for a student that it's easy, it's online classes, it's not there's not too much pressure. I think this is the time that you can learn a lot more, gain knowledge, uh, uh, learn a new language if you have the time and the resources too. So there are a lot of things that can be done. My recommendation is utilize your time very, very effectively, because this time is never going to come back. Yeah, and the last thing you want is to regret, oh, I wish I had learned this when I was in college. Because once you start working, there is learning, but there are a lot of things that there are so many things that I learned way back in college or as a management trainee, and I realized if I didn't learn those well, I would have my job would have been very difficult for me. So utilize your time, learn as much as you can. And one very important thing, as Sonali said, is what is definitely going to change is cleanliness, hygiene. What are the new norms today? That's one very important aspect of where you can spend your time on. I hope that answers your question, Vidhi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All the
Vidhi,
best.
one more thing I like to add to what Sharad has said. So he said,
Yes,
learn
ma'am.
as much as you can, and these
Yes,
times will
ma'am.
not come back when you have time on hand that you can learn other things. but also focus on things that you enjoy and you love, because like he said, this time won't come back. So you have this time on hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Concentrate on your hobbies, try and do whatever you could not do during school and college, and try and do that. And I have no regrets because this is time on hand, so make most of it.
So, ma'am, it's like
Once
I
you
would
start
like to add on.
working, you're looking back, so have fun as well.
Yes, ma'am. So I would like to add on that when it was like during this lockdown period where Sir said that develop more skills and develop habits that can be useful for us even in hospitality field. So I would like to add on that I already started doing psychology, and I feel that I related more with hospitality because it will be very beneficial for me to know more people in a better way, to understand the guest psychology. So I feel that I could relate that to hospitality as well, and I will develop skills that help me out in the future time as well.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Himika, I know I am infringing actually, but I cannot miss on this. So I need to ask short questions. Please let me do that.
Yes, yes.
Um, my question to Sharad, and the reason I'm asking Sharad, it's to all the panelists, but it's something to do with Marriott and myself. Um, uh, I think it'll be hard to believe for Sharad and Sonali. She's just left actually, and Ajay, that in 7 months I have not stepped out of house more than 9 times, basically. And first 90 days I did not even get to my deck or porch actually, and I comply with my doctors. I believe in them. I don't tell what I am, what I do, and I don't move at all. So I was supposed to go to New Jersey. There was a death in the family again because of COVID-19 in India, and I was pretty much ready to go. So I messaged my infectious disease doctor at Harvard Med School saying that this is what I'm doing. Her question came. I told her that I'll stay in a hotel. I won't stay with the relatives. Her question came, you will not stay with the relatives. Fine. You're going to stay at the Marriott. Are you comfortable that every employee there is maintaining the new norms, social distancing? How can you trust the guest? What kind of room they will give you? She sent me so many questions I could not even answer. And at the end, she wrote, your life is more important for me. You're immunocompromised, and you should just stay home. So I did actually. So my request is that, or my question to all of you is, what would you do for these kind of patients? Because I have stopped traveling for now, but I cannot continue like this. I'll have to, and to be very honest, all these GMs on the panel and few more, I'll be more comfortable with staying at their hotels because they know me, they know my disease, whatever it is. I'm more comfortable with them. But airline is also another issue. But I know what airline I could travel. But you will have a lot of these kind of patients, people who are thinking in those terms, and that's hurting their business, your business, and it's hurting the whole economy of the world, basically. Um, I'd like to hear, from any of you, your brains, basically, and of course, Sharad, from you.
So, I see this in some way as a scenario where, just after September 11, people wouldn't visit hotels,
right?
Because, oh, the next attack is going to be in a hotel somewhere else. And even then, I was the general manager. I was staying. We were in Chennai then. I was in Chennai,
Right.
and it's the same situation now in some ways. And my first response to everybody was, look, I live here with my family, and I am more than professionally as a father, as a son, as a husband. I will not compromise on safety in any ways for my family, and my family lives in the hotel. And so is the case now. My family lives in the hotel. We live in the hotel. And there is no way I will compromise on safety in any ways. My children are young. As a father, I would not compromise. And our orientation, until today, we don't know who's infected, who's not infected. We haven't reached that stage of public health or technology that one can gauge whether a guest coming into the hotel is a carrier or not a carrier. We can't gauge that now. And our orientation really is, for the associates in the hotel, is, listen, treat everybody like everybody is infected. Okay, treat everybody like everybody is infected. And then what precaution do you need to take? So if you're safely distanced, and if you're wearing your mask, and if the guest is wearing a mask, and all the touch points are sanitized regularly, I think we're fine. And I think very importantly, Another similarity from the September 11 is, and after the Mumbai attacks, sorry, not September 11, really the Mumbai attacks,
Right.
is that after that, I think it was very important for us to give the sense of security to our guests. And now again, it's very important for us to give that sense of security to our guests when they are coming into the hotel. And it's not through social media or advertising or marketing, but really the truth is when you walk into the hotel, get that feel. Yeah, you must get that feel that the hotel is clean. Yeah, that's the most important, that everybody is wearing a mask and everybody wearing a mask properly covering the nose. Uh, these are little bits, and all hotels have the cleanliness programs. Every good hotel has, and there is a lot of research that has gone in. The key really is, and it's I take responsibility as a general manager, and I think the key for any of us as general managers is to ensure it is executed well. Why? It's one to have a standard, yeah, which is written on a sheet of paper, standard operating procedure. But the more important bit is how much it is followed. And for us now, cleanliness, safety is a part of our culture. As Sonali said, make it a part of your culture for a new student. For us in the hotel, it's a part of culture that people understand that this is what we will have to always live with. Whether this virus stays or not, I think cleanliness, hygiene is something that is not going to go away. This is something that our guests will expect for the next 10 years, if not more.
Absolutely.
I'd like to add to what he said.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
also a leap of faith. You if you're associated with certain brands, you trust them completely. And it's only when you visit them that you really realize what they're doing and what it takes to be doing all of that and 24/7 monitoring it. As hotels and as hospitals, we're supposed to be always, when it comes to hygiene and cleanliness, be top notch. But with COVID setting in, and we've adopted all guidelines which have been given to us by WHO and by the local government, and following those norms, it's just become a little more stringent, and it affects every individual around. So it affects our own people, it affects the guests coming in. So it is also very important for us to be maintaining all safety standards. And since we are advocating that, we are walking the talk as well. And so when the minute you enter, you feel it in every hotel that you go. It's very different from a restaurant that you're walking into. There's always a scare when you walk into these standalone restaurants, which we've been experiencing as hoteliers. But it's very different when you enter a hotel. It feels more sanitized. It feels more hospital-like, to be honest. So that's the feeling that we get. We've been working here through, I think, since March, ever since the lockdown happened. I've been working every day, and we've been just taking care of safety and security and how we should enhance every protocol in the hotel. Like the lady said about how the vegetables come in, how food is prepared, how it's served, how our staff is, which staff should come from where. Like I said, we even housed people in-house so that, people who are servicing rooms and who are servicing people in terms of food and beverage are practically staying in-house so that the rate of infection is negligible to a large extent. So yes, like I said, it's a leap of faith, but anything can happen anywhere, but we're trying our best to maintain all safety standards and all sanitization standards. And it's tough, but such is life, and that's what the world has come to, and it's changed. We're hoping things get better. We're hoping we get back to normalcy. Don't know when that happens, but yes, we're looking at it positively.
Thank you both so much. I just want to add one more thing, and I'll be very honest today, because all the GMs here are, either they live there or they're working 24/7. My experience after 9/11 and 26/11, as I said, I lived in Chennai for 3 years. I stayed mostly at Taj Connemara, and I'd rather more at the Trident where Sharad was the GM. And that was a big security that he lives there. And of course, I used to go to the house on weekends. We're like a family friends. Taj Connemara, I moved from Coromandel because Dinaz Madhukar was the GM. And one night she told me after 26/11 that she's staying here for a few days. That made me more secure. Leela, of course, Mumbai, Captain Nair and the family is always there. And Ajit Bhavan, same thing with Umaid Bhavan. And I'm sure Motiji's hotel is the same. So to me, I look at more at those aspects, and that really helps. So my request to all the general managers is that to make your guests comfortable, it's very important to spell out that you sleep here sometimes. You sleep in this hotel. So that gives them more security. And what exactly Sharad mentioned about the residents living there, children, his wife, his mom, I used to visit. And so I think that's very important for us actually as guests. So I think it's very important all the GMs do spell that out. And my last question to Ajit Bhavan, Vice President, and also Motiji is that I know you hired local people who speak local language. What are you doing for the training actually to train them on the new norms or so-called the permanent norms we all have to live with? Either of you or both of yes.
As you know that, I think the things have been really spelled out in a very detailed manner. We are doing quite a high-end, weddings and events in this hotel. And I would say, even from the beginning, I meant to say since March 18th, since we have locked the hotel, we are the first one to lock the hotel, of course, operation-wise. And the entire hotel team is actually in quarantine. Even we are taking people in batch, and we have the staff colony, and there we keep people in individually in separate quarters for initial 7 days. Then there is a COVID test takes place, and then only if they are found negative, then only they are put into the system. And that is happening on a cyclic basis. At the same time, there is a detailed procedure which is being worked out from entrance to the checkout, contactless check-in and check-out procedure with the help of technology. At the same time, all the kind of chemical training is being given. Our housekeeper is in-house, food and beverage manager is in-house. So I think we have kept all our key people in the hotel. They are staying in the hotel. And there are, of course, number of people who are getting trained by them on a continuous basis. Even the contract people for carpentry or painting, they have also they stayed in quarantine for 10 days. They were paid extra. And then, of course, they have done all that preventive work. I mean to say it is quite a detailed work which has been done. As you know, of course, family is very particular about whole thing. I think, the sanitization zone which has been prepared, it is actually, it's a huge cost because, it is divided into 3 sections. There is separate accommodation which has been designed for the caretakers and maids of the royal family. That's a separate section which we have developed. And the palace will be totally separate in terms of course, the guest contact, because we will lock their entrance or exit towards the hotel, and then of course hotel will run independently as a business unit. So these are, of course, there are a lot of training and inputs which is being given, and of course all these WHO chemical standards and procedures are really trained in the hotel by keeping the HODs in place. And of course, I am also taking quite regular briefings and of course staying in the hotel with the family. So that's how, of course, even I follow it. I went to Jaipur a couple of times. I stayed in quarantine. I was actually working from one of the room, and that's how it was working. And I came down after my COVID test and all that, and that's how it's for everybody, top to bottom. So this is very strict. Even this wedding, which is taking place, very high-end wedding of the country, that's happening in the month of December between us and Umaid Bhawan. The gentleman was saying that the same exact procedure we want actually to follow in Umaid Bhawan, because there are certain I mean to say gaps he might have found somewhere, but this is the foolproof system which actually we are working on. So that's exactly he wants us to continue, and that's for that only he's paying us premium. Even he on the day before wedding, he wants to pay 2,200 rupees per person, including vendors. He want to get everybody checked, and then he's ready to pay for it. That's how I think it's such a safety measures and all that we are taking. This is how.
Yeah, I agree, Ajay, on this. Also, the main reason to be on this panel today was nice to see so many general managers of 5-star hotels. and you get to learn a lot from them. I've been lucky with a lot of my friends who are there. Taljinder is in Bombay, he's head of Taj there. There was Sanjay Umashankar, who was GM
President.
So it's good to have Sonali here, Sharadji here.
Thank you.
I have the numbers now, so I'm going to keep bothering them. I mean, they've given. Luckily, all of them have sent me the guidelines. You see, we are small hotel, so they've sent us the guidelines. Ki bhai, when the guest comes in, luggage handling, room, more or less, being small hotels, we were kind of following all that. But as there is an environment of fear, and when you go to these large hotels, even as when I go to Taj here, because there's again a friend here from the same school, you definitely are looking at how safe the thing is. But there is a small point which I like to put in here is when you go to large hotels, the staff itself is under a lot of fear. So when they are under fear, you need to kind of make that little easy in terms of how you handle, how do you make the customer more. This thing is to make it, yes, precautions are important, but if you can just make it a little easy by the earlier warmth which was there, you need to do that balance correctly, which I felt in Taj here. And when I was talking to my friend, he said that there is, I mean, even the staff is scared. There are not many travelers coming, but I think over a period of time, once actually the Jodhpur season has just started, people have just started coming in. We've had a long off season, so things should improve, and hope to get the right guidance from the large hoteliers and the GMs here, and I'm sure we'll survive this. Thank you.
Dr. Purohit, you are mute.
Sorry.
And
Just one last thing.
Jagdish sir also want to add something. Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to add, in my neighborhood where I live in Boston area, what the hotels are doing, especially Hyatt Place and these small hotels, what they're doing is that they're inviting the people who live in the neighborhood that they could come and use their meeting rooms, they could come and do certain things because everybody's working from home. There are like 10 people in the family or 7 people in the family. Everybody's Zooming. So they are providing that, and this is another revenue model they've been creating. I just got an email of something a couple of days ago. So these are also things to think about, that people would like to go out slowly and use the hotel facility for meeting rooms or Zooming or whatever they want to do. So I think we will give it to Jagdish, and then in the interest of time, we will not have the report today, the final report. We will send you a summary of the report. Normally, we take 10 minutes to give the final report, but over to Jagdish and then to the Vice Chancellor.
Thanks, Anil. And, the whole debate was very, intense. And I think this leads us to a very big question, a $1 million question with the COVID-19 situation. On the one side is Sharad and Ajay and Moti, and the other side is people who provide that talent, like the Poornima University. So my question to all the hoteliers, God forbid if the workforce has to be reduced and we need more accomplished workforce, or the workforce which has to be reskilled, and the people like Vidhi who asked some few very intelligent questions, what would you be looking at in the future workforce? We got some answers from Sonali in terms of what their hobbies are, but in terms of reskilling or upskilling of that talent, if you could please put it in more concrete ways, how your reduced staff could be still as efficient with the upskilling of the new recruits as well as the people who are working for you and upskilling themselves. I hope I made it clear. Thank you.
Yes, you've made it clear. The thing that is required is multi-skilling. So when we recruit people, we are looking at people who will be working in all areas, and we'll be training them accordingly as well. This process is something which has been on as we speak. And we are looking at training and having people multi-skilled in all areas and people performing all jobs. So it's not going to be department specific. You will not be recruited for a particular area or a particular department. You will be recruited as an employee in the hotel and performing all duties and work as and when required.
Sharad, you have any thoughts about it? Thank you, Sonali.
No, and I think just going with what Sonali said in terms of multi-skilling, it's a mindset change that is required. A lot of people, I mean, even when I was in college, people would say, I want to be a chef, I want to be front office manager, I want to be this. And I think what's important is people learn hoteliering as a whole, and don't think that this is not something. I don't want to be a housekeeper, so I should not know about housekeeping, or I don't want to be a chef, so I should not know enough about food. So that entire curriculum is important. And I think that's what we would look for in people who will be able to do more than one job. Yeah, and this is as far as skill. More importantly, I think it's again, I would go to do with the softer skills that becomes very important on the ability, for example, what is one's ability to work with people. And most people you interview in a hotel, you ask them, why do you want to work in a hotel? Because I love to deal with people. And then when you want to deal with people, then you put this guy in front of a very irate guest. Yeah, that's where the test is. Do you still like to deal with people? So it can't be that I'd like to deal with nice people only. There will be situations in a hotel which are going to be tough. And these are things that I think one must start thinking now at this stage, that am I building up my resilience? Am I able to work with different kind of people? Am I being able to make friends across the classroom and not just have 3 good friends? Yeah, and I think the one most important thing is, I think for students to realize, do you really like doing it, or you're doing it because your parents tell you, or because there is peer pressure or pressure of society and all of that? I think it's very important to figure out, do you like it? Will you like doing this for the rest of your life? If the answer is yes, then go ahead. If the answer is no, think twice. If this is the right career you want to choose, and let's take it, I probably don't think I can work in any other industry. I don't think I can. If I was to be an accountant, I would be a failure. Or if I was to be a research scientist, I would be a failure. And similarly, I think all of us have our genes, our upbringing, our thing of what we like to do. So just go on with your passion. That's very, very important.
Thank you, Sharad. And Moti, you have any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I agree with Sharadji on this. Completely agree with him on this. It is
So,
all about.
So maybe the other side of the paradigm may be answered by Sunil, Boss, and Rahul Bhai, in terms of how we are preparing the manpower, the future of the manpower in Poornima University for the hoteliers.
Jagdishji, one more point.
Yeah,
basically, there is one thing which is required is, I think, discipline. I mean to say discipline is the condition now. I think, you can't be casual anymore. And one more thing is the mindset, as Sharad said rightly, you have to be resourceful. I mean to say you should know, or you should find ways to solve problems. I mean to say you have to be, as they say that, you have to be the part of the problem solving. That's what it is. I mean to say, it's a complete home science. It's not only one department, as rightly said. I mean to say you need to know know how to fix all the kind of problems, and that's why I think it's a multi departmental training and knowledge. That is what is required, and that's the future.
I think we have a very hardworking, tourism and travel industry in India, and I'm sure that we all will overcome this scenario. And all the sentiments here have been today very positive. I just leave one parting shot with Sunil Boss and Rahul Bhai in how Poornima University is going to try and accomplish with their students and try and fix these holes.
Yes, I'm here to tell you now. Now we have BOS, that is Board of Studies meeting every year. So now in next Board of Studies meeting, we are going to change the syllabus as well. And we'll keep this COVID-19 as a special mention, and we'll have our courses, our syllabus in keeping in mind that COVID-19, the safety and safety of themselves and safety of the guests as well. And of course, we'll invite one of the person from the industry as well, who can guide us to have our syllabus on that. And we'll make sure that students are more disciplined, more active, and they are very disciplined actually.
So I would like to quote one example, a very recent one. When this lockdown happened, the government approached us to make our hostels as quarantine center. And so there are 4 campuses of Poornima in Jaipur, and we happily agreed that you can take away 2 of our campuses. And so all the people, the migrant laborers and some of the students who were coming in from foreign, I mean the Indian students coming back to their home, they were put to quarantine centers like ours. And we hosted around, I guess, 4,000 to 5,000 people in a span of around 2 months. We served them food, we served them our bit of hospitality, though it's not the luxurious hospitality. But so there was a point when our workforce was very less, and we called upon our students who were staying in hostels before, who were staying nearby. And to my surprise, these hotel management students were the first people who came to our help, and they helped us shift all the rooms of the hostels which were already occupied by the students. So we had to break all locks, we had to put all their valuables and all their stuff into some other room in properly organized manner. So I mean, that was a real practical example that we faced. And I sincerely think that if that culture of, working alongside students is developed in an institution, then, we as a institutional managers or administrators need to connect the industry with the students. That's what our job. That's what even Sunil sir is trying to say, that Board of Studies is a way where we can actually, take note of the future demands and do changes accordingly.
Okay, thank you, Rahul. And I think we can always talk offline, but Sunilji, we have a School of Public Health house there at Poornima University. So I think there is a need. I think it's warranted now that we need to work hand in hand actually with public health and the Institute of Hotel Management. So we'll talk more about that definitely. And so I would like to invite Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Suresh Chandra Pradeep, to give the vote of thanks and the closing remarks. And thank you all the moderators, panelists, everybody who have joined today. And we like to take this forward. Thank you. Dr. Padi.
Yeah, thank you, Anil sir, for giving this opportunity to me to share or the propose the vote of thanks. I can tell you the way the intellectuals today are gathered here to discuss on a point on the impact of COVID-19 in the hospitality industry. In front of them and in front of their experience, in front of their knowledge, I am really very small. But at the same time, I take this opportunity to propose my vote of thanks to all the members today who joined and discussed. You discussed a practical thing, a real thing, and the challenge which everyone in the world today is facing. Nobody is out of this, except I think today declared New Zealand is no more having COVID-19. That is what I heard. But otherwise, almost everybody is facing this. As far as the few questions on the how education sector will cope up with this, or hospitality sector will cope up with this, I think, see, every time there is a situation comes like that, and we all are to be ready for the new normal. Today, everybody is talking about what will happen, this infrastructure-based education. It may go online. I always believe in a different approach. If it goes online, maybe there are more things will be beneficial to the university or the hospitality sector than what we used to believe. But yes, like an online will give you the, I take this as an one type of opportunity for me, because I will, because of this online thing, my whole world is a market. Because and although we were trying before that, but our sentiment, our old practice was not allowing us to think out of the box. But today the situation is compelling us to take this initiative. Another opportunity I can think of is all the housewife today, those who are not going to work, they will become the potential employee or employer. So these are the opportunities. There are challenges which will go on every time. That is what my point is. But once again, I take this opportunity to thank you for coming for the panel discussion. We are grateful to you for hosting this kind of event, which is beneficial to many students, many people, participants like us. And Poornima University is also grateful for having you in the panel. Thank you very much.
So I would like everyone to please turn on the videos for our for a group photograph, and a very quick one. So I'll just take a screenshot of the, yeah, just a second. Just okay. Yeah. So 3, 2, 1. Say hello. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Dharmendra and
much.
Himika. Dharmendra and Himika, very good job done.
Thank you, Dr. Purohit. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for having us. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Anil.
Thank you, Himika. Thank you, Dr.
Bye.
Purohit. Thank you.